Hi guys, welcome to the channel for the Bayern Munich versus Tottenham Hotspur Friendly. Our last pre-season game before the European Super Cup final in just less than a week's time, and Thomas Frank's first competitive game next week. Although frankly, those, especially the Arsenal pre-season game out in Asia, was incredibly competitive. But Tottenham go to the Allianz Arena today to face up against Harry Kane. And will it be the first time that Harry Kane scores for a team against Tottenham Hotspur? Of course, Spurs still kind of suffering after last night's final goodbye videos from Son Heung-min. This will be our first game without Sonny involved or as part of the club in over a decade. Very, very difficult to deal with. But that and a fair few injury problems as well. It doesn't seem quite yet like the Ange Postecoglou revolution changing has brought any more luck when it comes to injuries, with no sign of Dominic Solanke or Destiny Udogie in the squad for today's game. I'm going to choose to look on it positively. There hasn't been a press conference with Thomas Frank before this game, so we don't know, but I'm hoping that he's just not taking a risk on them before the Super Cup final in a week's time. But I'm sure we'll hear from Thomas Frank after this fixture. I'm sure you can see the Spurs team on the strap below, but I'll go through it. Vicario in goal, Porro and Jed Spence as the fullbacks. Jed Spence again on the left-hand side, where I personally feel he is performing better for Spurs. Actually, Alistair Gold also agrees with me on that. I was listening to the Golden Guest Talk Tottenham podcast yesterday, and he said how he thinks Jed Spence is a better left back at the moment than right back. So he'll play on the left, Porro on the right, Mickey van der Ven and Christian Romero, who is captain, by the way. They'll both play centre backs. And then Palhinha gets his first start. I thought it might be a bit too early to throw Palhinha in, but he gets his first start for Spurs against the side that he left to join Tottenham just a few days ago. He'll be sitting in a double pivot alongside Rodrigo Bentancur, so that is a quite sturdy midfield, to say the least. And then in front of them, playing in a more advanced role, will be Pap Matar, who is a player that Thomas Frank, the new manager, has been most impressed with since he's joined the club. He was asked the question by Ali Gold, who's surprised you since you joined Tottenham Hotspur? And he said Pap Matar, raving over him. And then in the forward line, Mohamed Kudus on the right. Excited to see him play again. Brennan Johnson will start on the left. He obviously scored a good goal against Newcastle, dropping into that pocket in the number 10 role off the left-hand side. And then Richarlison starts up front, as like I said, no sign of Dominic Solanke. On the bench, Kinski, Austin, Davis, Danso, Vuskovic. Archie Gray, who played really well against Newcastle, so looking forward to seeing him get some minutes. Bissouma, Bergvall, Wilson Odobert, and Matthias Tell also playing against his former team. The Bayern team, Manuel Neuer, Lima, Stanisic, Upamecano, Tar, Kimmich, Goretzka, Luis Diaz in just his second appearance for Bayern since he moved over from Liverpool. And then Kingsley Coman, Michael Elise, amazing form he's been on since he joined Bayern Munich from Crystal Palace. And of course up front, Harry Kane, Tottenham Hotspur's highest ever goal scorer. And he's continued that form since he's joined Bayern Munich. It looks like, as the players come out on the pitch, it looks like a sellout over at the Allianz Arena. This will be a really good challenge for Spurs and their team. Niam in the comments says, such a shame that this match wasn't Sonny's last wearing the captain's armband. That would have been a beautiful and worthy symmetry. Yeah, but I thought personally, him giving his goodbye in South Korea probably was the right way to look at it. Bob Palmer says, with all the hype about signing, seriously, will we actually manage to convince top quality players to jump on the Spurs bandwagon? What really aggrieves me is that Man United are beating us to the punch. Well, the thing is, Tottenham will never, not any time in the next 20 or 30 years anyway, have the pulling power of Manchester United, no matter what state they're in. Because if you think about all of this generation of footballers, they grew up with Man United being the absolutely most successful club in Great Britain. So that is something that we're going to have to deal with, unfortunately. Patch Thomas, thank you for joining us. Patch says, so excited to see Palhinha. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if any of you like a gamble. Get him to be booked, even though it's a friendly. He just loves diving in. He can't stop himself. And Kulic says, yeah, finally some solid experience in midfield against alongside Bentancur. And Gary Riddell says, hi from California, Barnaby, I'm watching on Spurs Bay and listening to you as usual. I appreciate it, guys. Christian Romero has been named as captain today. He's just doing the toss-up in the middle of the pitch there as the Bayern Stadium announcer does an interview with Matthias Tell on the sidelines. That's interesting, isn't it? He's getting a lot of hugs there. Be interesting to watch him as he comes off the bench, no doubt, in the second half, if not early. He's actually being awarded a bouquet of flowers from Bayern Munich and getting a full round of applause from the stadium. They obviously really respect Matthias Tell over there in Munich. So Romero's the captain. Is that a sign that he'll be the captain now for the season and that Thomas Frank will announce it before the Super Cup final? Let's see what happens. You'd have to think, wouldn't you, that Harry Kane will probably score against us, and I imagine not do his usual celebration. He'll keep it calm. But if Spurs can keep Harry Kane and Elise and Coman and the like out, that'd be an incredible performance. Johnson starts ahead against ahead of Odobert and Tell on the left. I always get a little bit frustrated that Johnson just isn't as involved in games as he could be. And I'm sure Thomas Frank and Justin Cochran will be working on that with him. And just my main point really with a game like this, just no injuries, please. Spurs in their all white kit today. No more injuries required. We need a clean bill of health going into that last week, before the Super Cup final. We're about to kick off. Bayern Munich shooting from right to left. And Luis Diaz kicks off straight to Neuer, who's going to go long. Mickey van der Ven lets the Bayern player get the header in. And there's just a bit of head tennis in this first minute as Harry Kane gets in his first touch and Bayern get the ball down with Elise and bring it back onto the halfway line with their centre-halves. Jonathan Tah, who of course signed for them from Bayer Leverkusen this summer. And just some good pressing there from Kudus leads to Bayern playing the ball off the pitch. Porro with the throw back towards Christian Romero. This is a beautiful kit when it's in its all white. He goes back to Vicario, and I'm sure he will go long here, and he does. Up to the halfway line because he was pressed into Kudus's feet, but he loses it under pressure. One thing you would expect, especially kind of towards the second half of the game, Bayern have been a lot later back into their pre-season because of the Club World Cup, so you'd expect fitness to be more of an issue for them than for Spurs, but see what happens. Of course, they were playing deep into the summer, so could work either way. As Richarlison presses Tah back to Neuer, who, of course, as ever, incredibly comfortable with the ball at his feet, just lays it into the number 6. And Bayern setting up an attack here. Bit of a heavy pass there, but led Brennan Johnson in, but comes to Jed Spence, who goes all the way back to Vicario. Luis Diaz, of course, will be looking to score against Spurs, a team who tried to sign him once. It's a lovely Bayern Munich kit, you have to say, black with the old Adidas logo. Here is Diaz actually up against Pedro Porro, who drives him backwards. And Bayern bring it back into their back line, but play a nice ball in between the lines. And it comes back to Diaz as Elise made a run over the top. Wasn't found. 2 minutes gone. Bit of sussing each other out at the moment, it's fair to say. Coman on the right, plays it inside. Elise. Looks like he's got a free roll, Elise. He's found some space here. Beats his man easily. He's going to have a chance to shoot it, and he's fouled just outside the box. Is that Richarlison all the way back who fouls him? Oh, it's Kudus, I think. Elise, what a player, my God. No, it was Richarlison came all the way back. So this is a great chance for Bayern. It's basically, what is it, probably 21 yards out. Spurs lining up a 4-man wall. It's very central. Harry Kane standing over it, famously only ever scored one direct free kick against Spurs. This would be very, very Tottenham for him. It does look like it's going to be Kane or Elise. Kane did want to score in the back end of his career with a touched off free kick. I think it was against Bournemouth, but not really direct ones. This is such a good chance. I think it might be Elise. It is. And it's wide. Vicario was kind of rooted to the spot. He went for like the... yeah, he went. It looked like he tried to curl it, but he didn't get much curl on it, and it ended up looking like a kind of CR7-esque free kick. But Spurs with a little let off there. There's the short ball given to Vicario in his box, and they're kind of trying to goad. They're trying to goad the Bayern Munich players to come and press them. He gives it to Romero. Under pressure now it is Porro, and Porro gives it away down the line, trying to find Palhinha. But it comes to Kudus. Gives it to Bentancur. He gives it to Van der Ven under a bit of pressure, but he lays it out wide to Spence well. Spence beats his man beautifully on the inside. He's under pressure here, Jed. Jed does brilliantly going forward. Oh, and then he was fouled about 3 times, Jed Spence. And yes, it was given. Lovely from Jed Spence. Really like that. Gary Riddell says it's funny. I'm all the way in California, but my feed is 30 seconds ahead of yours. Well, mine's on a stream on TV, so maybe that's why. But oh, heavy touch in midfield there from Bentancur, but Palhinha finds a nice ball into Rishi's feet, tries to hold it up, doesn't manage it. But Pat Matsar does beautifully on the left, but an offside flag is given. Try not to go, if you're 30 seconds ahead of me, guys, try not to shout goal on the comments too early, because I don't want to look into it. Actually, what I might do is just... actually, you can do that, because I'm going to just cut away from the comments for a bit. And Diaz up against Porro on the left here now, into the box. Porro does really well defensively there. That's a really great start from Pedro. And he clears it long, and it comes to Kudus, actually. He's got 2 men with him. Can he drive down the line here, Mohamed Kudus? He does. Really brings us up the pitch, then turns away and finds it inside to Palhinha, who protected the ball and then was fouled by Diaz himself. Good work from both Kudus and Palhinha there. He took the ball well on the half turn there, Palhinha. There's a soft foul, I have to say, but a foul nevertheless. 5 minutes gone, 0-0. Spurs starting to play their way into the game now. Feels like a kind of tight, top-level European game at the moment. Spurs playing quite narrow. Oh, bit of a dodgy pass there from Van der Ven into Palhinha, but he dealt with it well all the way back to Vicario. And now Vicario goes into central midfield to Bentancur, who drops it off 1 touch into Romero. He's got Bentancur with him, but he goes back all the way to Romero, who's pressed by the 6. And he goes left-footed into midfield into Sarr, but it wasn't the best pass. And that is where Kinski is better than Vicario. And as a result, Bayern Munich, with some lovely one-touch stuff. And Kane has dived on the floor there. And he's got a free kick for it. And he was faking there, Kane, but he gets a free kick. Let's see what happened there. Just a poor ball from Vicario into Sarr. And Elise picks it up into Kane's feet. And it's Romero who plows through the back of Kane. What a surprise. Oh, they've taken it early, Bayern. And they should have scored. They took a quick free kick and should have scored. Here it is. It's just a dinked free kick and a late run. I think it would have been offside if there was VAR. And he's on the stretch, Goretzka, and he hits and he just volleys it over the bar. And not massively surprisingly, considering Spurs' lack of a number 10, but we are struggling already to keep the ball. Van der Ven does well, goes down the line. But again, we've given it away to Elise, who's incredibly dangerous already. But Romero just comes and absolutely plows through him. He's like, I'm not having any of that. He got the ball first. Bayern go all the way back to their keeper and start again. And just one long ball over the top towards Elise, but Vicario comes out and it was offside anyway. Porro just dinks one down into the channel, and Kudus has made a great run. He's one-on-one with his fullback here, Kudus. Cuts inside, then out. Good position here for Mohamed. Chips it to the back post. No one there, unfortunately, at the back post, but brilliant play from Kudus. I actually think Richarlison, as the striker, has to think, well, maybe I'm being unfair there, because the instinctive run is across the front of the box, which is what he made, and Kudus just dinked it to the back. Great ball from Neuer up to the halfway line. Really great goalkeeping there. And in just a couple of minutes, you saw the difference between Vicario's distribution and Neuer's distribution, as he just dinked one up to the halfway line straight to his midfielder's chest. And Bayern have the ball again here. And when Bayern have the ball, Tottenham incredibly narrow. Every single player almost within the width of the 18-yard box, even the front three. Just to try and stop Bayern from playing in between the lines. And that's a good press from Kudus. Bad directing there, but Spurs didn't manage to win the ball off them. It comes out wide right. And again, inside to Elise, who is the most dangerous player on the park for sure, playing in a free role. Here he is again, on the right-hand side, cutting in on his left foot. Gives it inside. And Bayern bring it to the left-hand side with Diaz. Out to the full-back. And Diaz is at the byline, but good tracking back from Kudus, and that will be a corner to Bayern Munich. 10 minutes gone, 0-0. You would expect Bayern to be on top in the early days of the game, as that's when the fitness or lack thereof won't be as much of an issue. Because as I said at the beginning, Spurs are further ahead than Bayern in their pre-season. So this will be an in-swinging corner from the left, as the Bayern players try and get bodies in front of Vicario. Diaz is the player trying to stand on Vicario. Spurs have a lot of bodies around there as well. Polinia, Romero, Sarr, Richarlison, Johnson, Porro, and Bentancur, all in their own 6-yard box. Come on, boys. Here it comes. It's on Vicario's head. He gets a good punch on it. Second ball, 3 Spurs players go for it, and eventually I think it's Sarr who gets it away up to the halfway line where Elise picks it up. Elise tries the big old diag over the top to Harry Kane. It's a great ball. Great touch from Kane. What a goal. What a goal. I told you he'd score. I told you he'd score. Incredible. And Kane is he's offside. He's a mile offside. But his first touch, he's over the top of Mickey van der Ven. His first touch on the half volley takes him sends van der Ven past him, and then just a left foot stroke into the far corner. He scored 41 goals all comps last season, Harry Kane. Palhinha now tries a dink over the top to Richarlison, but well headed back to Neuer there by Upamecano, I think it was. So Spurs 1-0 down early in this game. We lost, of course, twice to Bayern Munich in friendlies last summer. No VAR in this game, but Kane he just made his run about a yard early and was clearly offside, but Lino's made a shocking decision there. But anyway, Spurs got away with a goal, didn't they, in the Arsenal game? So you can't complain. Can't have it both ways. Yeah, I think Thomas Frank will go to the Spurs players at half-time and say, no, you did well with your line there. He was offside. Not much you can do about it. It's just also just an absolutely stunning goal from Harry Kane. That's what he does. Just that is elite elite forward work. It really is. And Bayern in a good position again now. Kane coming into the box. Well, that could be a penalty, and it is. Palhinha. I told you Palhinha loves to dive on the floor, and he has done, and that's a penalty. Stanisic got past him. Well, he didn't get the ball, and he didn't get the player either. I don't think that's a penalty. He didn't get the ball, but he also didn't touch the player. And it'll be Kane again, won't it? If I was Vicario here, I'd stand up down the middle. Although Kane has a new penalty these days, doesn't he? He has one where he does a little shimmy in his run-up. So I wonder if he'll do that one. I'd like to see another replay of that dive-in from Palhinha because I don't think he gets the ball or the player. Kane is undoubtedly going to score a hat-trick against us today. You know it. Oh, he's skied it. He actually slipped David Beckham style and hits it onto his wrong foot, doesn't he? Yeah. Beckham against Turkey in a World Cup qualifier, I think it was back in the day. Anyway, so Palhinha gets away with it, although I don't think he actually touched him. I'd like to see another angle of that. But Kane has his goal and then Mr. Penn. And the director is showing a picture of a sprinkler system for some reason, as if that is responsible for it. Anyway, Spurs, it feels a bit like Spurs have a bit of an inferiority complex here, and they're going to have to try and get into the game and believe in themselves. Once again, I'd say, though, there is a lack of creativity here. So you'd see why that would give Bayern kind of full belief to not worry too much about Spurs when they have the ball, other than just to press them. As Vicario goes direct now, up towards Kudus, trying to use his strength. He did get there first. And Rishi has a good dig there. Kudus actually did enough to see the ball bounce down to Richarlison, who has a volley from outside the box. Good work from Kudus. But it was straight down his throat, unfortunately. And Spurs have a free kick just outside the box. Tried to dink it over quickly. Bad decision. Offside. "60 minutes gone. Bayern 1, Spurs 0. And Bayern just playing it around their back line. Richarlison trying to put the pressure on. And he does well, Rishi. Won it high and then tried to play it inside, I think, to Palhinha. But we've won it high up again now with Kudus, who's undoubtedly Spurs' best player. Gives it to Bentancur. Gives it to Porro. Bentancur lays it out wider to Mickey van der Ven, who's got Spence outside him, but he bypasses him and goes straight to Brennan Johnson, who once again has not been in this game yet. But he drives forward, tries to play a little ball into the box to Spence. Gets a first touch on it. And it's been given as a corner, even though Spence got the touch and then was tackled. He thought it might be a penalty, but it's a corner instead. Ref kind of pulls out of making a challenge on that one. Has he changed his mind, the ref? I think he's changed his mind. What's he given? Well, it could be a penalty. Yeah, he did. Spence got his touch in first. And then he's kicked from behind. But the ref gives a Bayern Munich goal kick. Well, there you go. That's how it works in the big leagues, lads. Spurs with a big press up high, but Bayern Munich do incredibly well to beat it. And now it's 4 on 4 at the back, but a great comeback and slide in tackle Was that Palhinha? I think it was. That's his game. Anyway, it comes to Kane. Oh, lovely diag out behind Spence. Cut back. And good defending from Romero, who goes in hard on his man, but gets the block in more importantly, and that's a corner to Bayern. No, 19 minutes gone. This is a... Oh, no, I thought it would be a corner to Bayern, but actually it's at Vicario's feet. And he's looking... Yeah, he just goes to Romero eventually. He goes back to Vic. And he goes out wide to Van der Ven. He's got a bit of time on his side, but he drops it into Spence's feet. Spence goes into Sarr, I think it was. And now Spence is pressed by 3 players. But he goes back to Van der Ven, who goes long in towards Richarlison. He's going to struggle to win that. And he doesn't. Oh, dear. Good pressure there from Pat Matasar. Thought it should be a throw-in off Upamecano, but it's a Bayern throw. 20 minutes now. Spurs, maybe not surprisingly, considering the lack of any creativity, a little one-dimensional. All the creativity coming from Mohamed Kudus on the right. What a player he is. Imagine if we could have 2 players of his ilk alongside him in that forward line. As Bayern do a big diag from right back over the top towards Luis Diaz, who's got Pedro Porro with him. Porro does brilliantly, and then he's helped out by Kudus, and Diaz throws himself to the floor, as you'd expect. And now he's looking to foul people. Romero goes back to Vicario. He's going to have to go long, and does. Richarlison tries to win a header, but easily dealt with by the Bayern back line. Oh, terrible ball, though. Palhinha gets it off, gets it in midfield, and he drops it to Kudus. Then Palhinha goes for a return run. Kane working backwards on Kudus. He's gives him a little nudge in the back, but Kudus finds Porro, who finds Romero. Drops it into Palhinha's feet. It's Bentancur, I think. Oh, terrible ball from Bentancur. Really horrible into Kudus. And as a result, we lose it. What was he trying to do there? Just kind of chipped it at pace into his chest from nowhere. But then Palhinha wins it back, and Romero helps him out. And then beats the man. Lovely from Christian. Plays it inside to Kudus. Good stuff from Spurs here. Kudus into Palhinha. No, Kudus just tries too much there and loses it. Diaz now has the ball. Thomas Frank shouting from the sidelines. And Bayern have it in their back line. And another big diag from centre-back over the top towards Kingsley Coman, who gets it down. And then they bring it wide left to Diaz, fronting up Porro again. And Porro does well to force him inside to Tar. Back to Diaz. Oh, bit of a bad touch, but they get away with it. Then they play a good ball down the line to Diaz, who's at the byline. Romero's at his back. Desperate to get the ball off him, Romero. But Diaz turns him really well. And then Porro and Romero, neither of them can get the ball off Luis Diaz there. He's complaining about a foul. And then they get a free cross in. Nobody marking the cross. Nobody stopping the cross, which of course was one of my bugbears from last season, but it goes too far. I was surprised that Diaz was let go by Liverpool, to be honest. And Spurs there get through central midfield for a second, but then a poor pass over the top to Johnson, who, like I said, just not involved in this game at all. Everything coming down our right when we do have it on the rare occasions. And that's where I wonder whether Odebear playing on the left would be a better option, because he's more keen to kind of drop into those 10 roles as Bayern play a ball over the top into Koeman. And then he plays a poor ball, but they keep the ball, Bayern Munich. And yeah, like I said, just Spurs, well, can't have it both ways, I guess, but very, very much inferior to this Bayern team at the moment. Ball comes back to Vicario. Gives it to Van der Ven, who lays it out wide to Spence, who of course has to be on his right-hand side, so it's easy to press him back to Van der Ven, who then gives it to Vicario on his goal line, who lays it out to Romero. He's got Porro with him, but he tries instead a great ball into Bentancur's feet, and Bentancur is able to dink it to Sarr. Sarr takes a touch, gives it into Paulinho. I feel like we had a chance to get forward there. Just slowed it down, but it comes to Spence now, who gets on his leg, on his bike. Has to come inside. Gives it back to Paulinho, who wants the little diag. And it's too much for Porro. Goes out for a throw-in. We've seen a bit of the best and worst of Paulinho so far. Given away a penalty, but also done some good stuff off the ball chasing back. Tried a diag, but too much on it straight off the pitch. Of course, as you'd expect, it'll take him a while to get up to speed with his teammates. Kudus again being direct there when he had a sniff of getting the ball, but was just had too many players around him. Perhaps Sarr trying to press the back line for Spurs, but not managing it really. And just Bayern Munich very comfortable, just knocking it around Spurs and then driving through midfield and again getting it out wide to Diaz, who's running at Porro. Porro knew he was going to go inside there. Oh, what a touch outside the box. What an effort. I think that's Goretzka, is it? Good save by Vicario down to his left. But it was a beautiful touch just outside the box that got it down for his own shot. Yeah. And Bayern have the ball again. Spurs not able to keep the ball for any length of time. As Elise plays it down the right to Koeman. Gets into Kane, who tries the little dummy. Oh, terrible ball outside the box from Spurs, and it breaks to Elise. Spurs just unable to get out of their third at the moment. Elise now on the left-hand side. He's getting the tricks out now. Little flicks. Oh dear, Tottenham. Koeman now on the right, fronting up Brennan Johnson. They play it inside the box, and it's cleared from Van der Ven. But to nobody. And Richarlison looks frustrated, but another big diag from Elise out to Koeman. Takes it down easily. Comes into the box. Shot from out. Dink to the back post. And Porro actually in a good position with Harry Kane at the back post. Something that we weren't great at last season, but Porro cleared it. And that stopped Kane from scoring a definite second at the back stick. But again, of course, out for throwing, and Bayern have the ball. Spurs just being moved around at will at the moment. Just a poor ball there, though. Bentancur's able to pick it up. Gives it into Kudus. Plays a poor ball himself back to Porro, putting him under pressure. So he's going to have to go long. And that's blocked from Michael Elise for a Spurs goal kick. Oh, and I've got to change. Apologies. I'm sure you're all saying it, but I haven't changed the... Vicario again pressed onto his left foot. Plays a decent ball into Sarr in central midfield, who's pushed in the back. That was better from Vicario there. Van der Ven plays a good ball there to Johnson, whose first touch is good. And then a beautiful diag to Kudus. Oh, yeah, he did the right thing there, Kudus, trying to take his man on the inside, but he was lucky, the defender, got a touch on it. And then Bayern straight away with one pass all the way over the top of Spurs, and Koeman is absolutely in on us. Players in the back, great cross and well cleared by Van der Ven at the back post. Porro then dinks it on to Kudus, who's got to hold this up under pressure. Oh, he plays a dangerous lobbed ball, but Bentancur helps him out and then plays it into Richarlison's feet, who once again, this time he's pushed in the back. Wins a free kick. That was an important header at the back post from Van der Ven. Spurs have gone long again straight away from their free kick and lost the ball. Apologies that I didn't change the score quickly, but I'm not looking at the comments because I'm on a little delay. Elise turns Van der Ven so easily in midfield and lays it out to Koeman, and Bayern at us again. He crosses it in, Romero deals with it, and then Spence gets a decent tackle in. But there's just not enough talent on the pitch for Spurs to keep the ball against Bayern's press at the moment. Elise tries to take on Spence. Spence does well and gives away a corner, but gets a good challenge in on Elise. Show him that he's there. I think Spurs have to be a little braver. I like Thomas Frank. I really like his communication, but one of my fears when he was linked with the job is just how direct his Brentford teams chose to go a lot of the time. As a cross comes in for Bayern, again cleared at the back post by Van der Ven. That's another corner to Bayern. Half an hour gone. It's still only 1-0, but really Bayern just all over us. And Harry Kane is lurking at that back post every time they get a cross in. This will be another corner for Bayern. It's been a very frustrating half to be a Spurs fan so far. Here comes the in-swinger. It's cleared from Spurs. Comes to the edge of the box, scuffed. And then Kudus trying to get away and is fouled, and that should be a booking. And because it's a friendly, it's not a booking, but he's lucky, the boy. Lima, it was. Yeah. Stop Kudus transitioning there. Now, Spurs have the ball and a free kick in their own half. They can just touch it around a little bit. Maybe get some time on the ball. But no, Romero looking to go long. He's desperate to go long here, Romero, but you can just give it to Van der Ven. Eventually he does. And now what he needs, Van der Ven, is a couple of Spurs when they have the ball basically in a kind of 4-2-4. So they don't have any options on the ball, really. And therefore, they have to kind of go mid to long. It comes into Kudus' feet. He does well. And then Porro with a big, long, direct ball straight to Neuer. All game. Like, this is not working, Frank, mate. This is not working. Richarlison now pressing as Neuer has the ball, but he's so comfortable on it. Sarr, who's not really been in this game, just having to do a lot of pressing, and he does well there. I think this kind of 4-2-4 formation when we have the ball, just all it does is mean that the midfielders are completely pressed, and we're just going long to players who can't hold it up. The only player who can vaguely hold it up in the final third is Kudus. Diaz and Elise playing lovely stuff down the left, and Diaz tries the early cross, the back stick, but Spence is in a good position. He clears it to Kudus, who does beautifully. Oh, beautiful. But he's totally on his own, Kudus, here, and he wins a throw-in. Magnificent. Just not really sure what Thomas Frank is expecting from these players, as Bentancur quite luckily wins the ball there and plays a good ball into Sarr's feet in midfield. Tries to get away from two Bayern players, and he's fouled, and that should be another booking for Bayern Munich, but I'm sure it won't be. Now, Romero, again with the ball, this time the free kick just inside the Bayern half. He gives it short to Bentancur. Gives it to Palhinha. Comes back to Romero. Great ball from Romero into Bentancur. Plays it through into Rishi. Great shot to the far post from Rishi on his left foot. Easily saved by Neuer, but good football from Spurs. "35 minutes gone. Bayern have the ball in their own half, just knocking it around there. And Upamecano finds Coman, who cuts inside and plays it outside to the fullback. Early cross, too much on it. And Porro tries a ball that was very dangerous, and as a result goes straight to Bayern, and they're in at the back, dinked over, and Romero manages to clear. Don't know what Porro was doing there. That was overly confident. And Bayern have it back again. Oh, Koeman. They're in the box again. Chance for Kane. Chance on the edge of the box here. Over the bar from Goretzka. Spurs hanging on at the moment. And Goretzka should do better, really. There's no one even attacking him to stop the shot. And it's straight and just over the bar. Gets a lot on it. I think if he got that on target, Vicario would have struggled. So goal kick to Spurs. Van der Ven is going to take it. It's on the left-hand side of the 6-yard box. Gives it to Vicario. They've cut to Company now. I bet by the time we get back, Spurs will have lost the ball. No, actually, it's come all the way out wide to Johnson. His first touch is okay. Gets inside to Bentancur. Being pressed, but finds his way, the ball out to Romero. Kane pressing him. But Romero gives across to Bentancur, who goes to Van der Ven on the left. Brennan Johnson showing for him. But instead, he goes backwards to Vicario. And now, Bentancur and Palhinha kind of drop off Vicario. So what options has he got? Only Van der Ven on the left. Gives it into Spence. Can he go first time into Bentancur? He does. And Bentancur's got Elise with him, but he does well. And Spurs into the Bayern half now. And a good ball down the line. And Sarr was pushed there. In the end, I guess that would have to go down as good defending, kind of smart defending. But Sarr got himself in a good position in the box. And then just a little last-minute push, and Sarr didn't go down. And as a result, it goes out for a goal kick. Oh, that's good play from Palhinha in the central midfield against Elise. He's totally on his own. Does brilliantly and gives it into Richarlison, who gets away from his man well. Into the box, Rishi. You got to lay it back, Rishi. Nah, just loses it. It's a shame. Lovely from Palhinha there, though. Won the ball back and gave it into Rishi. But now Bayern on the break and find Diaz out wide left. And he's running at Porro. Comes inside. Oh, we'll have a chance at a shot here, will he, Diaz? No one stopping him as he comes wide right to Elise. And now another free cross on the right. No one blocking the cross. And that should be a goal from Goretzka again. Absolutely appalling defending from Tottenham Hotspur. So easy for the fullback on the right. Like, nobody's closing him down, so he just cuts the ball back to Goretzka, who's basically on the penalty spot, has a free shot on the volley, and it's wide. And Spurs go long again. They've got to stop just belting it long. That time he went long up to Pat Matasar, who's not good in the air. And of course he's not going to beat Jonathan Tah and Deo Upamecano in a challenge in the air. So they just head it back to Neuer every time and Bayern start again. Stupid. Ball comes out to Diaz again. Bayern just knocking it around in midfield. Comes out wide to Diaz again, up against Porro. He's had a lot of the ball. Drops it inside. Goretzka keeps the ball going, finds it wide left again. Upamecano, they're just moving the ball around here. Oh, lovely turn from Elise. Oh, and they're in down the right again. Bayern cut back. This time Romero saw it coming. Finds it Saar, but Saar's being pressed in his own corner. He's got to win a throw or something here, Saar. All he manages to do is clear it out for a throw because Bayern counter-press so well. And they've started again with Elise. What a signing Elise has been for Bayern, by the way. Dearie me. And Bayern, considering Bayern only came back a week ago, it's Spurs who look absolutely knackered. I guess the only thing I can find for them is the fact that they came back from South Korea just a day or two ago. So maybe there's some jet lag. As Bayern drop one over the top to Elise. He lays it back to Kane, who has a shot, but Romero blocks it. It bounced all the way back up to Richarlison on the halfway line, who dives on the floor. Can't hold it up. And Bayern have it back. Elise turns around Polinia easily, and he tries to slot Kane through, but Romero had that sorted. Oh, and he's given a free kick against Romero. Oh my God, what a joke this is. He's given a free kick against Romero when it wasn't a free kick. He's then booked him when there have been so many Bayern challenges that should have been booked. Dearie me. Even Kane didn't think that was a foul. So it's another free kick outside the box, and this time Kane is standing over it. He'll want this one. Ref is an absolute joke. This is what, 28 yards out maybe? Well, whenever he's playing for Spurs, these would just fly into the wall or over the bar. So let's have a look how our luck is. Probably straight in the top corner, I would have thought. Elise is now getting involved. No, it's going to be Kane. Hits the wall. Oh, and then the break. Oh, great defending from Van der Ven. The break came straight to a Bayern player in the box, and he was really alert. Comes to Jed Spence. He has to try and turn Koeman in the corner. He gets it back to Van der Ven. He's able to clear it, but it comes straight back to Bayern. You can imagine Ange Postecoglou watching this and just being like, well, this is why I try and make you be brave on the ball and play football, because every time you're hitting it long, it's just going straight back to Bayern anyway. Still 1-0 somehow. It should be about 5-0 to Bayern. Sorry to be negative. As they play it down the right again. Another free cross. Back post. Kane. And it's just wide. Van der Ven had to try one of his overhead kicks at the back post because he thought it was going in. It's just wide. Spurs need to find a way to just get to half-time here because they are being made to look very, very average. As Romero goes long down the line into Kudus, who does beautifully. He was fouled about 3 times, but the ball dropped to Palhinha, and then the ball played into the channel for Kudus to put pressure on Stanisic finds it back to Neuer, who goes long. It's the first time we've seen Neuer under any pressure to go long, to be honest. Oh, terrible touch from Upamecano, but Spurs not on their toes. And it's come through to Kane. He finds it out wide right. Spurs once again now chasing back into their own box. Coman has the ball. Finds an easy pass to Elise outside the box. Richarlison did well there, though. And Palhinha wins a foul just about. Oh, no, the ref doesn't give it. Oh, my God, what is this referee doing? Nearly another goal. So Palhinha, I don't know, he did kind of fall on the floor there. And then Kane just tries the dink over the top to Diaz. Diaz couldn't get the ball down. And Spurs struggling at the moment. And my stream is buffering for a second, unfortunately. Oh, my stream has gone, so let me see if I can find a new one. Interesting. So I'm going to have to find the game on Spurs Play here. And that is half time. Anyway, so the Spurs players having a go at the ref, Richarlison, one of them, as the halftime whistle goes. But yeah, very interesting. First half, not great for Spurs, I think it's fair to say. It's Bayern Munich 1, Tottenham Hotspur 0. It should be about 5 or 6-0, I would say. Not a very promising performance when you consider that we're going to be playing Paris Saint-Germain next week, and they knocked Bayern Munich out of the World Club Cup. I think it was 2-0 just a few weeks ago. I'll just go through what happened this half. Elise made an amazing run in the second minute, and Richarlison came all the way back to try and get the ball off him, but he fouled him. The free kick was wide from Elise. Some good play in the fourth minute from Jed Spence. Good run down the left-hand side, showing his pace and power. 6th minute, Romero ploughed through Kane, giving away a free kick. It was taken quickly, and Goretzka should have scored on the volley from within the box. And then just a minute later, Romero ploughed through Elise, but this time he did at least get the ball. 8th minute, the first bit of numerous excellent pieces of play from Mohamed Kudus. He had his fullback on toast, got down the right-hand side, chipped it to the back post, but nobody was there. 11th minute was the goal. Harry Kane, an amazing diag. Basically, we cleared from a corner. Elise picked it up on the halfway line. Then with his left foot, an amazing diag over to Kane, who was just pulled. He just pulled off Mickey van der Ven. His first touch takes it inside van der Ven, whose momentum takes him away from it. And then Kane did what Kane does, slotted it into the far corner with his left foot. Kane was at least a yard offside, but there's no VAR. So Tottenham 1-0 down. And then just a couple of minutes later, Palhinha on his debut for Spurs. He's had some ups and downs in this game, I think it's fair to say. He gives away a penalty diving in the box. He loves to dive in. Sliding tackles are his thing. I'm not sure from what I saw whether actually it was a penalty or not. He didn't seem to get either the ball or the player, but either way, Harry Kane slipped when trying to strike the penalty, and the ball hit his right foot onto his left foot and went over the bar, very similar to David Beckham in a World Cup qualifier, I think it was, against Turkey many years ago. Went right over the bar, absolutely skied it. 15th minute, the ball fell to Richarlison just outside the box after Kudus had done some good work with his back to goal on the right, and just a snapshot on the volley from Richarlison went straight down Neuer's throat. One of only 2 real shots, I think, from Spurs, both on target throughout the half. Some more good play down the left on the 17th minute from Brennan Johnson and Jed Spence. Could have maybe been a pen, as Jed Spence got a touch ahead of the defender, but nothing was given by the ref. 22nd minute, I've just made a note that Romero and Porro both trying to go in hard on Luis Diaz on the left. He's getting a lot of the ball, but he's playing pretty well, Diaz, at the moment, the former Liverpool player. 25th minute, beautiful touch and shot from Goretzka just outside the box. Vicario forced to save well down to his left. 28th minute, just a bit of positivity for Vicario, whose distribution hasn't been brilliant. He did play this one good pass in the 28th minute on his left foot into Pat Matassar in midfield. And that was a positive there. 29th minute, just made note that in the last few minutes there'd been a couple of good defensive headers from both Porro and Van der Ven, who actually did it twice at the back post, stopping situations where, once again, those of you who are watching my watch-alongs last year will see one of my big bugbears, Spurs' kind of refusal to stop crosses at source and then mark the back post. But this time, Porro and Van der Ven marking the back post far better. They're just showing the penalty here. I don't think he got the ball or the player. I can see why Palhinha's complaining. Yeah. The player just dives over Palhinha's foot, so it shouldn't have been a penalty. 33rd minute, better football from Spurs here. Great ball from Romero into midfield. Then the midfield, I think it was Bentancur, played it into Richarlison, whose left foot, decent shot, but easily saved down to his right from Manuel Neuer. 34th minute, poor clearance pass from Porro, where he should have just gone down into the channel, tried to do something clever, and it was easily picked off, and it should have resulted in a goal. 35th minute, I've made a note to say that Spurs are basically hanging on. Goretzka with another shot over the bar just from the edge of the box, with nobody closing him down. 36th minute, good football from Spurs down the left. Sarr made a good break into the box. He got a kind of clever push from the defender, should have gone down and didn't. As a result, just a goal kick to Bayern Munich. 37th minute, appalling defending from Spurs, I've written here. A free shot on the volley from the penalty spot after a cutback from the right. And it was Goretzka again, just coming from deep, and he volleyed it right wide. Spurs, again, lucky to get away with it. 40th minute, a foul given against Christian Romero for absolutely nothing, as he just got his body in the way as Harry Kane was trying to make a run in behind. So he gives a foul when it's not a foul. Romero rightly complains, and he gets booked when, during this half, Bayern Munich had given away about 3 or 4 bookable challenges, stopping Spurs on the transition. So he seems like a bit of a homer, the ref, at the moment, to say the least. A homer being a ref who gives more decisions for the home team. 41 minute, Kane took 41st minute, Kane took the free kick, hit it straight into the wall, as we're used to. 42nd minute, I've written Bayern should be 5 up, chance for Kane at the back post, just with his left foot volleyed it slightly wide. And in the 44th minute, the ref didn't give a foul against Palhinha, and Bayern nearly scored once again. Let's get into the comments, see how it felt during the start of the game. Let's see what we're saying here. Ryan Law says, can someone tell Kane to score an own goal for Sonny? Patch Thomas says it was offside. Yeah, Kane was offside, but no VAR. Gardu says Spurs falling apart. Well, I think falling apart, Gardu, would be an understatement for how Spurs have played in this half. I'm going to try and give them a jet lag excuse, but that excuse will not fly next week against Paris Saint-Germain, who basically will only have just got back to pre-season now, because they have to be given 3 weeks off. So Spurs should very much have the better fitness of Paris Saint-Germain next week. Kulic says no VAR. No, and Kulic agrees with me. Not a penalty either. Glad to see it. And Pat says Palhinha giving away his first penalty. There's definitely some worry amongst the Spurs community that Palhinha's love of diving in will come back to haunt us a number of times. But I have to say, I don't think that was a penalty at all. Gary Riddell says, because I think I said it, I think Harry Kane will end up scoring a hat-trick today. I think I said that before he took his penalty, but I still wouldn't be surprised, although maybe they won't give him 90 minutes. Maybe there'll be a lot of subs on 60 minutes. Gardu says, it's been said João is a yellow card magnet, so we'll see how that affects Spurs this season. Yep, totally. And Gary says Harry had a flashback of taking a pen in an England shirt. Yeah, similar to the penalty he took against Hugo Lloris in the quarterfinals of the World Cup in Qatar, wasn't it? And then now the first message saying, don't forget to change your scoreline. I'm sorry again, guys, I'm not in the comments during the game because I was on delay, so I don't want to see what's happening before us. Penton says Kane celebrated against us. I don't think he really celebrated, did he? I don't think he did I didn't see him do his thing. Gardu says, Barnes, it's a matter of how the game model informs the players' motives. It's clear Frank is at this point only interested in making them transitional and a manic pressing team, force errors alone. Yeah, I get that. But do you think this performance today has been kind of manic pressing? I'm not sure. They look kind of tired and off it a little bit. Let me know what you think. Pat says Spence is playing well as usual. Yeah, I think Spence is really good at left back, but I will say, very disappointing to not know what on earth is going on with Destiny Udogie. Charlotte Daniels says, Barnaby, really disappointed to hear you sing the praises of how Arsenal are run recently. When did I sing the praises of how Arsenal are run? I don't know what you're referring to, Charlotte. Do let me know. I don't have a feeling on the top of my head that Arsenal are particularly well run. I mean, I will say that they are not an oil club or a state-run club, so they're doing it kind of sustainably, or more sustainably in terms of investing their own money and their own revenue. I can only say that. Luke Chapman says, Northampton Town fan. Thanks for joining, mate. Appreciate that. Lots of messages saying change my scoreline. I apologize about that, guys. I know. I did get there in the end. Tor Nielsen says, was really hoping we could get rid of both Rishi and Biss this window. I mean, what we definitely need, guys, is more players who can get on the ball with their back to goal, with pressure on their backs, and hold it up. Kudus is definitely good for that. Solanke we miss massively. And just Brennan Johnson, he's an elite finisher, but he just doesn't get involved in games. So I would be tempted to bring Wilson Odebear on and say to him, if you don't feel you're in the game, come into that little 10 pocket. That's what I think. Oh, I see. Here's Charlotte. Okay. Have you no comprehension about how corrupt Visit Rwanda partnership is? As for party, would you like that going on at Spurs? Well, follow me on TikTok, Charlotte, because you'll see I've done a lot of videos about the Thomas Partey affair. No, I thought it was absolutely appalling. I don't have a great deal of comprehension about how corrupt the Visit Rwanda partnership is. I know the Visit Rwanda thing isn't a great look, and there's a lot of the corner of the Arsenal fan base who don't love that. But I can't say I know a lot about it. I really don't. So apologies for that. Apologies, Tone, for not reading the thread, but I was on delay, so I didn't want to see it. And Gary there just backing me up, saying Charlotte Barnaby did a whole podcast about how vile Lagunas were with the whole party situation. Yeah, I think I did. I'll take it. Apologies once again for the score not being updated. Magic Box says, sick Madders is out, gut-wrenching loss. I hate friendlies. Why take the risk? Yeah, Madders, just devastating for him. The latest on Kulusevski is that he'll miss the first month of the season, but I think his is a patella injury, and that's going to be one that's going to take time to come back into, isn't it? So we just need to buy someone. We need some more creativity in the team, whether we had Madders and Kulusevski or not. Pat says, Spence and Kudus looking good. Johnson anonymous. Yeah, I would agree with that. And Jack Lagros agrees. Tell and Johnson totally anonymous. Glenn Spark says, as usual, Johnson a waste of space. I mean, it just seems to me like we don't try and find him, really. I don't know if he's a waste of space. I'm not sure, really. But Patch saying Kudus is awesome. That is a promising positive, that's for sure. He's, frankly, the way we're performing at the moment, he looks far too good a player for us. But there we go. Kulich says, good effort, Big Richarlison. That Big Rishi, that'll be for his left-footed shot, I would have thought. And Patch makes a great point here. Good job that Goretzka is rusty, that's for sure. And Jack says, Tottenham nowhere near strong enough for Super Cup and Champions League competitions. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go and have a look on Twitter and see what some of the Spurs community are saying there. I doubt it'll be good. Let's have a look. Oh, blimey. This is a bit of news I wasn't hoping for. Tottenham will compete with Newcastle to sign Nicholas Jackson if Richarlison leaves. No. Nathan says, Nathan Clark, from the Extra Inch podcast says, we have the opposite box defending issue to the one we had under Postecoglou. So many midfielders dropping into the back line that we open up space on the edge of the box or even the penalty spot. Yeah, it's a really good point. Really, really good point. Got to try and find a middle ground, I guess. Alistair Gold says, Christian Romero has a long and animated conversation with the officials at the halftime whistle. Having finally seen some replays of certain moments on social media, I can understand why. Yeah, totally. Harry Scarf thinks that Romero is playing Kane on side, but not from where I was looking. What else have we got? Yeah, just some people saying it's the worst referee they've seen in years. I think that's a fair point. It's been pretty bad. But frankly, Spurs deserve to be 4 or 5 down. So there we go. Some more news. Apparently, Spurs have held fresh talks with Manchester City over the possibility of signing James McAtee. Not massively excited by that, I have to say. But let's see what happens. Jay Oxley says, Johnson's just not good enough to start. If he's not tapping it into the back post, what the F does he do? Wolf says, I like Jackson, lol. That thriller celebration won me over. Scribble Scrabble asks, Barnaby, would you take Garnacho? I don't know. I feel like he's the kind of player that if we had creativity around him to kind of put him in behind, then yeah, but at the moment we're so stodgy in central midfield. I'm not sure. Di says, if Frank doesn't pull his finger out, there's going to be a few protests against Enoch this season. And Lucas says, need a 10 big time. Johnson, not a starter. Yeah, I think that's fair enough at the moment. Listen, Bayern Munich are an elite team. They have huge wage structure, huge amount of money to spend on players. They took possibly our best ever player off us. So, not a surprise that they're better than us, but what Tottenham need to be able to do is keep the ball in midfield. And I'm sorry to hark back to Pochettino era, but the reality is we had players all through that team who could keep the ball. Dembele, Eriksen, Ali, Kane, Lamella on the right. So we just don't really have those players who under pressure are able to keep the ball at the moment. Lucas Bergvall is doing a busy warm-up at halftime, so it looks like he'll be coming on. The players are coming out. So I will try and change this team for the second half. Bergvall is coming on. As Matthias Tell hugs Coman and Kane. Just going to find out who Bergvall's coming on for. You'd think maybe Paulinho, because he's been only with the club a short amount of time. Yeah, so it's Paulinho. So frankly, Spurs have to be better this half, and it has started. Thomas Frank looks very animated on the sidelines. We're about 30 seconds into the second half here. So Bayern Munich have the ball on the right again and comes into Bergvall's feet. He does well, gives it into Bentancur. So it looks like Sarr and Bentancur will be playing a little deeper now, as Sarr plays it into Bentancur plays it into Sarr, and he gets it out wide right to Porro, who plays it into the channel. It's just too easy. Neuer comes out and clears it. I don't know. I just find that a little bit too easy, frankly. Ball comes into the midfield. Kudus does well again, and now he has an option to get it out wide to Johnson. He doesn't get a lot on it, but Johnson gives it first time to Spence. Now running into the box, Spence gets an early cross in, and that's easily cleared. But that was better from Spurs. Spurs getting on the ball a bit early here. Porro, and he goes back to Vicario. He's got an option with Van der Ven on the left, but if he has to do it early, and he does, Van der Ven being pressed by Coman, gives it out wide to Spence. But of course, Spence can only go one way. And as a result, it's given as a throw to Bayern. Spence didn't think it was, and now Bayern in a good position But Kane tries a little pass and Sarr does well. Gets the ball out wide right to Kudus, who can drive at his man here, Kudus. Doesn't, goes inside to Sarr. Bit of a poor ball from Sarr there. Back to Porro. He has to start again. Goes back to Vicario. He's pressed. Oh dear, Vicario gives a dodgy ball back to Bentancur. And then Vicario gets it back, gives it to Van der Ven, who goes down the line up to Richarlison's head. But of course, easily dealt with by Bayern Munich once again. And Upamecano has it at his feet, plays it into midfield pretty easily, and it comes out wide to Coman. Bergvall trying to put a bit of a press on. Frank asking him to press more, in fact, on the centre halves. That forces them to play the ball amongst each other. But he gets out wide right to Coman, who fronts up Jed Spence. Gets a good touch in there, Jed Spence. Bentancur gets the second ball, and he can put Richarlison in here. Richarlison 1-on-1. There's a player at the back post if Rishi can find him. Oh, and his cross is blocked well by, I think it was Tar maybe. Richarlison then beats his man again, gets into the box on the left. Good cross. Oh, and then Kudus was trying an overhead kick. Good stuff from Bentancur and Richarlison there. Better from Spurs, though, already. Oh, no, this is not good. Pedro Porro is down. We try and hear what's going on here. So he clears the ball down the line. Okay, it looks like an impact injury, I'm pleased to say. It should obviously be another booking that Bayern Munich haven't got, and Porro is back to his feet again, and he's not happy, and I'm not surprised. It's Diaz, I think, who took him out. Should have been a booking. I don't know. I didn't see a yellow card given. This referee is having an absolute shocker, to say the least. Kane getting in his ear, as you'd expect. Porro's okay, though. Gives it to Romero, who has to go all the way back to Vicario. Nobody in midfield really desperate to show for the ball for Spurs, something that we really suffer with in this shape. Vicario's outside his box now, and he gives it to Van der Ven, who finds Spence, goes inside to Bentancur, does well. Gives it into Bergvall. This is better from Spurs, into Spence. A lot of players around them, though, and Bayern win it. And then they find it into Coman on the right. Coman's got a runner outside him. It's Kane into the box. Early cross from Kane, and that should be a goal for Elise. And he puts it over the bar. That should be 2-0. Oh, Spurs just giving the ball away time and time again here. Spence again. Bayern just playing the ball nicely here. In between, in down the middle, in between the lines, and then out to Diaz on the left. Fronting up Porro again. Comes inside. Dink over the top. Cleared by Spence well. Kudus manages to get the ball down beautifully. Now, can you lay it off to someone? No, again, he tries one too many there, Kudus, and Coman again in down the right straight away. It's far too easy when we lose the ball. And now, outside the box, Kane tries a little 1-2. Doesn't get it back. And the ball is played out wide right again. Coman absolutely free on the right-hand side. Comes out wide left now. Good play there from, I think, Sarr. Gets a little touch in. But now Bayern are in down the left once again. Diaz inside to Elise. 1-2. Should be a goal. And it's a cross in the end from Diaz from the touchline that nobody is there for. So we clear it out for a corner. But it's too easy for Bayern. Just little bits of 1- and 2-touch stuff. It's so simple. Bentancur kind of, his defense is just to put his hand up. Here comes the ball outside the box again. Cross to the back post. Cleared. That point from Nathan at half-time is so true. We're just playing so deep. Another cross comes. Actually, it's a big diag out to Elise on the right. He's fronting up Porro on the wrong side here. And there he is. Tries to bend it to the far stick. Good save by Vic. I mean, the second half has just started the same as the first. This will be yet another corner for Bayern Munich. Oof. I fear if we were playing Bayern Munich in a week or two's time, they might be about 6-1 up at this point. They're really turning it on. Again, a lot of bodies around Vicario. It's an in-swinger. They put it on his head. It's over the top of him. Cleared by Spence. Spurs very slowly getting out. Coman on the ball now on the right. He takes on his man. Beats Johnson, but not Spence, who's strong. And now he's just got to give it easy. And he does. Gives it to Johnson, who finds Bergvall. This is better. Bergvall driving forward. He's got 3 men chasing him, though. Good back heel back to Brennan. And Brennan brings it inside. That's better from Spurs in terms of bringing it forward on the transition. Pat Matasar now. He has a man outside him. Here he is, Kudus. Can he get a decent cross in? It's a very deep one. Far too much on it. That was better from Spurs, though. Goes straight out of play. Gary Riddell says 6-1. Where are you getting our 1 from? Yeah, good point, mate. Very good point. Just cutting to Matthias Tell on the bench and Ben Davis. Oh, a bit of a press on the Bayern team there from Kudus, and Kudus wins a throw-in high up the pitch here in the final third. And Spurs choose not to take it quickly. Try and get up the pitch themselves for once. So it'll be Porro with the throw. Not blessed with options. Oh, does well. Gets it back, Porro. Tries the cross into the box. Comes to the back post. There's nobody there. Spence chasing. Uses his strength well there, Jed Spence, to win a corner. Good stuff. He's had a decent game here, Spence. Just cut to the bench there to show Basuma and Austin Danso, amongst others. I mean, it's a low bar. Spurs have looked a bit better in the second half. Very low bar, though, because absolutely appalling first half performance. But here's a set piece, and we did look dangerous against Arsenal with set pieces, didn't we? So maybe we can cause some trouble. Porro's going to whip one in. Into the 55th minute here. Kane taking up his usual front stick place. We saw him for Spurs for so many years, clear so many. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he gets the first head on this. How's your delivery, Pedro? Here it comes. Whipped in, and it was Harry Kane with the header out. It's just so obvious. Jesus. Anyway, that's a throw-in for Spurs just in the Bayern half. Spence is going to take it. And he goes back to Van der Ven. Plays it across to Romero. Goes into Bentancur's feet. Bentancur tries a big diag first time. Cut out by Bayern. Oh, but then a little block. Oh, and it nearly fell to Richarlison in behind, but he didn't have the pace to get on it first. And Neuer dived at his feet. "56 minutes gone." You'd think there'll be some subs around 60 minutes, seeing as Spurs have just got back from Korea. Bergvall pressed Neuer really well there. Oh, Spurs, dearie me. We've just headed it back to line it ourselves. He's running at Porro on the left-hand side. He cuts back. And Bayern very much have the ball there. There was a chance for Spurs to get the ball down that they weren't able to. Comes out to Koeman again on the right. To Upamecano. Bergvall is at least pressing in a way that we weren't really seeing in that first half. And that's pushing Bayern back. That's better from Spurs. And that's really good pressing from Spurs, forcing Bayern into some interesting balls across their back line. They're dealing with it, Bayern, you have to say, but it's a little bit dodgy at times. Perhaps Sarr now leading the press. It's great play from Bayern getting out of it. It really is from Bayern. You've got to say they're in fantastic situation here. Kane now running at the central midfield. He's going to drop it into Diaz, surely. He's fouled, Kane, but Bayern are in anyway. Cut it back and over the bar. And what's Kane complaining about? What are you complaining about, Kane? It's called advantage, mate. You don't get a free kick after the advantage when you've hit it over the bar. It's amazing football from Bayern. Should be 2-0. It was Bentancur, I think, who fouled him. Maybe Romero. Bayern's finishing has been absolutely woeful. It would be hilarious if towards the end of the game we made the most of that. Again, Richarlison fouled in midfield. Oh, this time it was actually Bergvall fouled in midfield. And this time we do get a free kick for it, which is something at least. Now, by the time the replay goes, I imagine, yeah, he's just pushed in the back, Bergvall there. I imagine by the time the replay is finished, Spurs will have lost the ball. Oh no, they just take the free kick now. Romero to Van de Ven. Lays it early to Jed Spence. It's a good pass from Van de Ven, so Spence is on his bike already. Forced to come inside. Koeman working really hard for Bayern. Not something you'd expect, really. But Romero then finds Porro. Not blessed with options. Goes down the line into Sarr. It's actually Kudus, apologies, who plays a good crossfield ball into Spence. Has to take it on the bounce. Does well, though, Jed. Plays it inside to Johnson. It's just a little bit of men against boys here because Bayern are being very physical on the press with Tottenham. Whenever it comes into a Tottenham player's feet, they're very, very physical, and Spurs a little bit lightweight. And I've talked all summer about Thomas Frank liking physicality in his sides. And this is a show of how important it can be. Anyway, Van de Ven gets it now. Out to Spence. Gives it inside to Bentancur. And that's better trusting of his midfielders there from Jed Spence because he gets it, pops it off one touch to Van de Ven. Romero does the same with Sarr, who gives it out to Van de Ven, who goes out to Jed Spence. Has to take a touch on it, and he's knocked off the ball easily again, Jed Spence. That's the third time in this half. Bayern now in the box. Koeman, goal. It's a great goal. Far corner. Thoroughly deserved. And I'm just going to say this. This is a problem we have with Jed Spence playing at left back. Because he's so right-footed, Bayern know how to physically press him, so he has to kind of go inside, and they know how to get the ball off him. And it was telegraphed there that Jed Spence was going to have to take a touch back towards his own goal. He then slips a little bit, and it's easily dealt with. The ball comes to Koeman, and just from the edge of the box, it's an absolutely wonderful finish. But considering how many gilt-edged chances Bayern have missed, it probably had to be a brilliant finish like that because they couldn't score from 1 yard. So they've just scored from 18 yards. It's a brilliant, brilliant goal. And Thomas Frank, after this game, is going to have to tell us what the deal is with Destiny Udogie. Because when you've got a player who is, Jed Spence, I think, is a good left back. I really do. I said that earlier. I'm not going to change. But if you've got a team who know exactly how to press him, Richarlison causing trouble up front there and then gives away a foul. He might get booked for that. He doesn't. But Richarlison at least causing some danger. Can't account for finishes like that, but all of Spurs' own doing. Bayern going to beat us again in a friendly, twice last summer, once this summer, and I'm sure there will be more goals. And Gardy, really good point here. When Spence puts his back to his mark by receiving passes with a poor body shape, and also I have to change that. Spurs just knocking about in their own half. So weird to write that Kane has scored against Spurs. Anyway, Brennan Johnson now trying to drive at his man on the left. Gets to the byline there, Brennan, but then cuts back. Maybe he should have just had a shot on his left foot. And that will be a throw in to Spurs. But good to see Johnson involved in the game. Looks a little lost out there at the moment, Brennan. He picked up the ball kind of 10 yards inside the Bayern half. He had no one near him. Spurs about to bring two subs on. Ben Davies and Wilson Odobert. 63rd minute. And who are they coming on for? Jed Spence and Johnson. I think, that's for balance reasons, really, from Thomas Frank. There's no huge shade on Jed Spence, just gives us a bit more balance with Van der Ven and Davis on the left-hand side. Actually, got to say, Thomas Frank has been praising Ben Davies a lot as well during the pre-season tour. I'm just going to change that. So and Odobert came on for Johnson. Back we go. Bayern have the ball 2-0 up. Elise on the right. Elise, I saw Alistair Gold tweet that Elise has been the best player on the park by a mile, and that is an understatement. And now, 64 minutes gone, Bayern are basically bringing on their kids, or what looks like their kids. So Spurs should get a bit of a chance at some possession. Spurs have been absolutely woeful this game, I have to say. It's been shocking. Maybe not a huge surprise, but dearie me, when are the injuries going to stop? Oh dear, Romero has just walked into trouble there. Oh, and then a horribly late tackle from Romero. Romero might be about to get sent off in a friendly, and Kane's through. Oh, it's a brilliant save from Vicario. My God. I'm going to turn the sound on here because I think... Oh, dear. But this, a great ball from Coman into Kane, who's one-on-one at an angle with Vicario, who saves brilliantly with his legs. And then gives Harry Kane a hug afterwards. And Christian Romero has very much got away with that. So now Bayern bringing all their kids on. And I'm going to see, they're bringing on 9 players at least. They're not all kids. Kim Min-jae is coming on. And Kane is coming off. Is he going to give the Spurs fans an applause or anything? No. Nothing from Kane. Prick. All right, well, you'd like to think, wouldn't you, that Spurs might get some more possession now, but who knows? See what you guys are saying in the comments. Scribble Scrabble says massive save by Big Vic. Mark Lewis says we need Poch back now. Pat says bad man management to bring off Spencer. Lads played really well, gets caught and leads to a goal and you bring him off. Barry says Barnaby, get real. We have no forward line. The ball keeps coming back at our defence. This was all forecast to happen. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway. Lots of changes have been made. And Spurs got rid of the corner. It was an in-swinger. Cleared at the back post by Bergvall. Davis with a throw down the line. Up to Richarlison, who's not really been in this game. He's worked hard for kind of very little. And now Bayern Munich are probably just going to pop it around us with their kids as well. Oh dear. Bad ball though, and Bergvall manages to win it and then dives on the floor. Will he get a free kick for that? Probably not. He does get it, I think. Or does he? No, he doesn't. He gives a sarcastic thumbs up to the ref. Spurs have the ball with Davis with a throw-in. Tries to throw it into Richarlison, who is fouled and then fouls back, but neither given. Bayern clear it down the line. Mickey van der Ven over his head and gives it into Romero. And now Spurs need to be a bit braver on the ball here. Better. Bentancur into Pap Sarr. Plays it out wide to Pedro Porro. Porro tries the early cross. Chance Rishi. Oh, he's headed it wide. Huge chance for Richarlison. Amazing cross from Porro. Richarlison from 7 yards out. He should do better. I'm sorry, but Richarlison has to take chances like that. And he's just been taken off straight after. Oh, dear. Matthias Tellon. Deary, deary me. Oh, dear. That's kind of, I mean, Patch, if you were complaining about the man management before, maybe that was organised before, I don't know. Anyway, 2-0 Bayern. Oh, heavy touch there from Bergvall in midfield, and Bayern come forward. Coming through at left fullback now. Sarr working hard. Porro working hard. And they get a tackle in and then get it out. But a free kick is given by the ref, which I'm not sure about. 20 minutes to go in a very, very one-sided friendly game here at the Allianz Arena. Real lesson for Tottenham Hotspur. Bayern now just popping it around in their half. Comes back to Neuer. He just dinks a little ball out to the wide fullback, who back heels it down the line, who back heels it back to him. Spurs being played around. A beautiful pass, but just Romero does well enough to cut it out. Vicario gives it back into Romero, takes it on the half turn, gives it to Van der Ven. He's got Ben Davies outside him for some balance. He can take it on his left side. Dinks it into midfield into Kudus. That's better from Spurs. Kudus holds it up. And now just one little thing with Kudus. He can just take it one touch too many, but Van der Ven does well. Gives it into Sarr. Goes back to Vic, who then plays a dinked ball to Porro. It's not the best by any means. Porro heads it into Van der Ven, who heads it to Kudus, and Kudus gets away from his man beautifully. And now he's driving into the Bayern half. Plays a good ball into Bergvall, but nicked off him from Tell, perhaps unwisely. But anyway, comes to Ben Davies now. who finds Odebear out wide left. He's got Ben Davies going outside him, but Odebear tries to come inside. Finds Bentancur. Out to Ben Davies now in the left back position, but in the final third. Back to Bentancur. Bayern have their shape. And Spurs now with Van der Ven gets it back out to Ben Davies. Nice bit of possession from Spurs for the first time in a very long time. Comes to Christian Romero. Oh, and the director's so bored he's cut to a Mexican wave when Spurs have the ball. That should tell you a lot about how much he thinks Spurs are going to do with this bit of possession. Good ball inside from Bentancur to Odebear, who does well, running from the left into the 10 position. Finds Pat Matasar, who drives forward. Gets it outside to Bentancur. Bentancur just being kicked a little bit. Finds it back to Mickey van der Ven, who finds Pat Matasar. Had some space to pass the ball into, but didn't do it. Back to Bentancur. And this is Tottenham's best bit of possession all game. Romero into Bergvall. Finds it out to who I assume is it Tell? Or is it, not sure who it is. Tries to cut inside. Oh, it was Kudus. Apologies. They've both got white bandages on, so it's hard to know at times. But Bayern beat the press easily and come out wide right. And once again, we get to see the Mexican wave. Boring. Go away. And Bayern are in on the left-hand side. Wide left in Spurs' box. Has a shot. Well blocked, but comes back out to a Bayern player because Spurs' bodies are so far back. Oh, Vicky makes a save. And then he should put in the rebound, but the Bayern player doesn't. And Bentancur then tries to take on 4 players on the edge of his own box, loses it. And Bayern have the ball out wide again. Get a cross in. Cleared. Second ball once again to a Bayern player, but Kudus does well. And now Tell, is it? Is it Kudus or Tell breaking forward? He's on his own. It's Kudus. Tries to cut inside and is muscled off the ball. Oh, Spurs. There's not a lot good to say about this game, I have to say. Bayern are in down the left up against Porro again. Cuts inside, looking for a shot. It's going to be a shot on the edge of the box, is it? No, Spurs have bodies in the way. Now it's a shot, and that's another goal for Bayern Munich. And it's one of their kids, I think. 17. Same finish as Coman's. What's his name? Oh, it's a beautiful finish first time. Same finish as Coman's. Tottenham just having the piss ripped out of them. And Spurs just don't close down shots. It's bizarre. Vicari's having a strop about it. Not surprised. What's his name? Carl. Diaz comes off. Tottenham getting absolutely dicked here. And to be totally honest with you, I've given Arsenal a lot of stick about their pre-season losses. So I expect quite a lot back here. This is really, really bad. A real lesson. Davis finds Lucas Bergvall. I'm pretty desperate for this game to finish, to be honest. Van der Ven. Out to Ben Davies. Comes back to Van der Ven. And Company just constantly begging his players to press, counter press and press. And Vicari's just going to go with a long, loopy ball. What is the point? Some strength from Van der Ven. That was a handball, but the ref doesn't give it, and it goes for a Bayern throw-in on the right-hand side. And they've tried to steal about 10, 15 yards there. Oh, dearie me. Not a great deal to enjoy here, say the least. Still 15 minutes to go. And they're just trying to play one over the top, but comes straight through to Vicario. Thomas Frank has talked a lot about keeping clean sheets, and the problem Spurs have now is not only can we not keep the ball, but we can't keep clean sheets either. Sure, 2 of the goals today have been absolute worldies, and one of them has been an offside, but Bayern had about 15 other chances that they should have scored from. So there's really not a lot to enjoy about this. Van der Ven plays a good ball out to Ben Davis wide left. Plays it inside to Bergvall. His first touch is good. He does well there, Lucas. Plays it out wide to Odegaard, who's fronted up by about 3 Bayern players, all of whom are kids, and he loses the ball. Oh, dearie me. Oh, dearie me. Well, I would say the good news is that Burnley won't play like this, but Paris Saint-Germain will next Wednesday. And they'll have had exactly the same amount of preseason training as Bayern have had. And Bayern are absolutely dicking us. Just so much more movement off the ball from Bayern, from both iterations of the teams. If they play a long one over the top, Vicario just hikes it into the air. Kudus gets a touch and it comes back down to Porro, whose first touch was to go backwards. Vicario plays a left-footed ball into Bentancur's feet. Does well. Drops it off to Davis. Plays one over the top into the channel. Actually, Odegaard would have been in there if Davis could have put a little bit less on it, but Manuel Neuer deals with it well. Clears it. Davis goes backwards with the throw to Van der Ven. To Vicario. Can Tottenham find anything positive out of this game in the last 10, 12 minutes? My instinct is no. As Bayern, again, get the ball down the left. They've got 2 against 1. Cut inside. Shot blocked, but comes out again. Running in the box, Bayern. They win it back again. And again. Oh, it's an absolutely world-class goal. It's 4-0. It's another one of their kids. Oh, my God. Three of their goals have been in the top corner. But Tottenham have given up. I think I'm going to have to hide from social media. Just so many opportunities for Spurs to kind of challenge hard. This is another of my bugbears last season. In the box, just Spurs unwilling to challenge hard. The ball broke to the winger on his right foot. And first time, he just bends it into the far corner. Vicario, no chance. Too good. Deary, deary, deary me, Tottenham Hotspur. And somewhere, Ange Postecoglou, his name's Kusi Azare. Somewhere, Ange Postecoglou is saying, I told you so. Oh, dear. And Spurs lost the ball again, have they? Oh, Archie Gray's on the pitch now. He just won the ball up in the corner, but his pass wasn't great. And 9 minutes to go. Oh, dearie me. Just... I don't really... Oh, dear. Archie Gray came on for Sarr. Just showing a replay of that goal. I'm not surprised. Absolutely appalling defending from Spurs. Alfie Devine is going to join Preston North End on loan. Oh, Bissouma's on the pitch as well. Why not? Romero into Beauval. Into Kudus. And then just a channel ball. This time it is chased by Tell. Does well. He's down the right-hand side now, Tell. Needs options. Has none. Keeps it. Has to go backwards. Then cuts it inside. Bissouma now. Gives it to Van der Ven. Van der Ven trying to use his strength. Gets it out wide to Odebear. Cuts inside Odebear into a little bit of space. Why not? Have a dig, pal. Have a dig. Oh, it's blocked by his own man, is it? Comes to the edge of the box. That was our first. Was it our first shot of the second half? Anyway, out to Kudus now on the right, who tries too hard and loses the ball. And then Romero wins it back, comes back out wide to Kudus. Spurs have some men forward here. Tries the early cross, but it's blocked. Better from Spurs. Oh, dearie me. Dearie, dearie, dearie me. More of the same. Kudus taking this with his left foot, I think. Oh, chance. It was a chance at the near post, I thought, but didn't get a head on it. Odebear chasing back. Comes to Ben Davis. Tries the big diag. It's not bad, actually. Can he get this down? Yeah. No, the ball goes off the pitch. Bayern take it quickly. Of course, Bayern have scored the same amount of goals with their children on the pitch as they did with their best team. Probably. Oh, and a foul. The ref's given a foul for Spurs. Again, Pedro Porro taken down as he holds his hamstring. Hope he's okay. Seems to be. Dearie me. This has not been pretty, to say the least. With Madison's injury, with Kulusevski's injury, with Solanke's injury, with Udoghi's injury, that is 4 first-team players out for Tottenham Hotspur. That is over a third of the team. So there are some mitigating factors, but 2 of those players are not going to be back anytime soon. Here comes the free kick. It's going to be Pedro Porro. Deep to the back post. Romero heads it across the goal, but it's well cleared, I think, by Kim Min-jae. Then Kudus keeps it, running back towards his own goal. Does a little step over and finally finds Vicario. Does the big long diag, but easily dealt with by the Bayern defence. And they bring it clear through midfield. And then just a big diag out wide right as a youngster takes on Ben Davis. Ben Davis does all right, but comes back to the youngster. Little 1-2. And then Bissouma's in a good position. Vicario then just goes long. Up to nobody. Kim just chests it down and Bayern can start again. And Kudus and Tell just not really working now. And Bayern can't get it through. Let's see what people are saying in the comments here. Scribble Scrabble, good point. Hopefully this drives the transfer agenda hard. Gardu, 9 players subbed on, mostly teenagers, and they've been rabid. Systemic Frog says, I told Levy not to do that interview with Neville. The squad's probably exhausted from laughing too much. That's a pretty good one. Anyway, Ben Davis comes down the left, finds Odebear, who tries the big diag towards Kudus. Gets it down, beats Kim Min-jae first. Min-jae comes back. Then Kudus tries to find the back post with a cross, but it's cleared. And every second ball in this game has gone to a Bayern Munich player. Archie Gray does well there. Puts Odebear into a good position. He's fouled. And the ref says he got the ball. So Kudus has it. Come on, Spurs. Comes out to Bergvall, wide right. Puts his foot on it. Comes back to Porro, to Bissouma. He draws 3 players out, and that's good because it comes now to Porro. Tries to dink across to the back stick, but no one's there. Archie Gray manages to keep the ball on. Does well there, Archie. Now he's driving towards the box. Picks out Odebear on the edge, but he didn't know he had a man coming, but Spurs have recycled. Mickey van der Ven on the turn, finds Romero. Romero fires it into the feet of Tell, but didn't get anywhere near it, and then Spurs give away a couple of fouls. Thankfully, only 3 minutes left of this absolute dirge from Tottenham Hotspur. The good news is at least this is an early friendly, so we can still do things afterwards, potentially. Thomas Frank looks a little bit haunted on the bench here. His first absolute pile-on as Spurs manager incoming. Be interested to hear what he says. Does he just feel like Spurs aren't good enough to deal with a good pressing or counter-pressing physical side? Or, does he think we didn't do the long ball game well enough? Because everything has just been long and in the channel. We haven't had a physical presence good enough up front to deal with it. Oh, dear. Vicario plays it out wide right to Ben Davis, who tries with his right foot to play it around the corner. He does well, actually. Into Tell, who does well. Gives it to Bissouma, but Spurs always going backwards here. Even when they're playing good 1 or 2 touch stuff, it's always going backwards. Bissouma now to Romero, to Van der Ven. Davis makes a run for him. It comes to Odebear. Davis is outside him. Odebear goes inside to Bergvall. Bayern look very comfortable here. Now Davis gets the ball. That was Archie Gray who'd made a run on off the last man there, bizarrely. Number 14. Spurs do well to find it out wide right. Comes to Porro. Gets an early cross in. What a cross that is. And it comes all the way to Archie Gray. He dinks it to the back post. Looked like a handball there from Bayern, but wasn't. Pedro Porro wins it back, gives it to Kudus. Kudus under pressure. He's got to find something, has a shot. It's a corner. Spurs. Archie Gray just taking some risks at the far post there, trying to put some pressure on Bayern. But to say Bayern have been taking the piss out of us in this game would be an absolute stone-cold understatement. I will do a relatively brief post-match review after this. Porro now gets the ball from the short corner, lobs it to the back post. Free header across the goal, but Spurs can't get the second ball. Comes to Ben Davis. Lays it out to Porro again. Oof. He does get it out wide. Is this Kudus? Kudus tries the early cross in. There's a lot of meat on that. Comes to the back post and Tell actually got a shot on target there. Saved with his feet by Neuer. And Spurs win it back. And that is the ref blowing up for full time, everybody. Full time. This is my instant match reaction to the Bayern Munich 4, Tottenham Hotspur 0 friendly. And I can tell you that any of the positivity and goodwill built up by that win over Arsenal out in Asia has just been decimated by a Bayern Munich side that I think it would be an understatement for me to say should maybe have won this game 9 or 10-0. That is how superior they were to an incredibly poor and one-dimensional Tottenham side who consistently could not deal with Bayern Munich's press and counter-press and physicality, knocked off the ball time and time again. And I think more embarrassingly than anything else, Bayern Munich made 9 substitutions, I think, on around 64 minutes, at which point it was, at that point it was 2-0 to Bayern Munich with Harry Kane having scored one of the goals and Kingsley Coman, I think it was, scoring the other. And then, having expected with those 9 substitutes and a lot of them having been Bayern Munich's kids, Bayern then extended it to 4-0 and could have scored even more. Tottenham Hotspur to a man. I'm gonna offer up a possibility of some jet lag. We've only just returned from Asia. I'm going to look for some positivity. I'm doing a bit of a tie from AFTV here and hoping desperately that Thomas Frank comes out and says they're all jet lagged. They're all absolutely knackered. Because if not, I really cannot give an excuse for that absolute horror show. And we play Paris Saint-Germain, the European champions, in the European Super Cup final in 6 days in Udinese. And if they turn up with those energy levels and with the system and tactics that they played against Bayern Munich today, who, by the way, Bayern Munich lost to PSG in the Club World Cup a month and a half ago or so, they will get absolutely decimated by Paris Saint-Germain, because PSG have players on the pitch who will not give up the kind of chances that Bayern Munich gave up today. They missed gilt-edged chance after chance. 3 of the goals they did score were absolute worldies into the top corner, and the other one by Harry Kane, which was a beautiful goal, by the way, was a yard offside from where I was watching anyway. But it doesn't matter, because the rest of the chances they missed were from like 2 yards, 6 yards, 8 yards, time and time again. Goretzka himself missed about 3 that he should have scored. Very fortunate that Tottenham were rusty. But to a man today, other than maybe Kudus's performance in the first half and Jed Spence's performance in the first half, Tottenham were absolutely diabolical. They looked like they weren't sure what they were doing. They were just pumping the ball long. We don't have Solanke up front to hold it up. So Richarlison in the 9 was constantly trying to hold it up, but failing, getting out-muscled. Brennan Johnson started the game in the left-sided forward role. Absolutely absent, as we constantly see him. And listen, if you take away the Ange Postecoglou kind of one-dimensional attacking of get to the byline and cut it back to the back post, you're going to take away basically all of Brennan Johnson's ability for this Tottenham team. And if you take out his goals and his assists from last season and add it to having to take out Maddison's and Kulusevski's and Son's, there's a possibility here, and I hate to be completely negative here, but there is a possibility that Tottenham, whilst trying to shore up the defence and be more pragmatic by appointing Thomas Frank, have also taken away all of the goals that we score that allow us to win the few games that we did win last season. That is me at the most negative possibility of what could happen this season. I think Thomas Frank is able to play different ways, but today I think he just said, try and keep a clean sheet and just play it long into the channels. And then if we're still in the game when Bayern get tired on 65 minutes, then our better training, because we've been back on pre-season for a month longer, will come through. Well, that didn't work because we were 2-0 down on 65 minutes. They brought on their kids. So no fitness benefit, and their kids outplayed us as well. Vicario was constantly pressed onto his left foot. So pretty much every time he tried to clear the ball or pass with his left foot, it put our players under pressure, or he just passed it out of play, or he just passed it straight to a Bayern Munich player. Pedro Porro, I would say, can hold his head up. He's a technically good player who always calls for the ball. Romero slid into he's a captain, by the way, Romero, slid into some absolute horror show tackles, got booked for complaining at the ref. Van de Ven, I don't think he did anything particularly wrong, but also, if you're not playing a high line, there's a little bit of Van de Ven's best game that's taken away from him. I mean, the one benefit from that is not playing the high line means that he's not going to have to sprint so much. I mean, one thing I will say, I saw a tweet from Nathan from the Extra Inch podcast. He's a tactico, really knows his stuff. He said, this is like the direct opposite of the problem with Big Ange Postecoglou, where the problem with Big Ange was everybody was too high. Well, now we're too low. So every time a second ball comes out, there are no Spurs midfielders around because they're all in the back line in our own box to hoover up the second balls. And today we lost, I would say, 98% of all the second balls in that game. Tottenham were not strong enough in the challenge in their own box, and one of the goals led from that. That is a bugbear of mine that's been happening all last year. Only one positive I can think of: we are defending our back post better. That was a huge bugbear of mine under Big Ange Postecoglou. It was so easy for teams to just cross it into the back post and for opposition to have chances and score goals. Well, today, Pedro Porro and Mickey van der Ven defended the back post a lot better. But here, let's look for another bit of positivity here. Could this be exactly what Daniel Levy needed? Because we've just been absolutely pounded 4-0 in a game, like I said, that could have been 10-0 by a team who we may well end up playing in the Champions League. So Daniel Levy needs to get his wallet out. And I've been saying this all summer. Listen, teams like Newcastle and Spurs are basically in a situation where we have to wait for those clubs above us to decide who they want to sign. But Tottenham can't be waiting anymore. Get Paratici on his phone. Get Johan Lange actually doing something. And they need to buy some creativity because there was no one on that pitch in midfield who was willing to take the ball on the half turn and take us up the pitch in that number 10 role. And we're not going to be seeing Madders this season. We're not going to be seeing Kulusevski for at least another couple of months. And even then, it's a patella injury. So that is going to take a lot of time to heal. Tottenham need to buy someone comfortable on the ball. There are too many players not comfortable on the ball, not brave enough on the ball, not willing to take it on the half turn. And we are absolutely in danger of having a shocking start to this season. The squad is lighter than it was last season. And we're still getting the injuries as well. I said it, 4 first-team players missing at the moment. Udogie, Solanke, we don't know anything about those injuries. Are they worse than we were first told? We need to hear. Hopefully Thomas Frank will say in his post-match press conference what's going on there. We can only hope that those players are fit for next week, but my betting is they are not. That they are not. And we will be starting that game with Richarlison and Johnson or Odegaard or Tell on the left. And I fear for that. Udogie, we need to hear the same. And then obviously Maddison, very much out, and Kulusevski. We need to get players in. In terms of other performances today, Paulinho played the first half. He gave away a penalty. I don't think it was a penalty. He dived in, though. We know he's going to dive in all season, and the ref just fell for it as the player went over his leg. He did win the ball back a few times, but also, you know, he was caught on the ball a few times as well. 45 minutes was all he got, and look, he brings us a bit of depth, so I'm not going to complain about it. Bentancur was okay. He was okay. He did what he does. He's brave on the ball. He's one of the few midfielders who would take the ball off the centre-backs and off the keeper and knock it about 1 or 2 touch. But Bayern just had our number today. Company absolutely outmanaged Thomas Frank. Pat Matasar ran around a lot, but Tottenham's press was late to everything. And that's why I want to come back to hopefully we were jet-lagged or something, because we didn't have the energy to press them into trouble at all. Not really until the beginning of the second half, where you could see Thomas Frank on the sidelines shouting at Lucas Bergvall to press high, press high, press high. Bergvall had come on at the break for Paulinho. And that did give us a little bit of a foothold in the game at times, but not for very long. Johnson, as I said, I'm going to have to give him a 4 out of 10. Mohamed Kudus was probably our best player overall, always trying stuff. There are times where he tries probably to take it on one step too far, but he's the only player in that final third who could hold it up, really. And Richarlison had a gilt-edged chance with his head just before he was taken off in the second half. A beautiful cross from Pedro Porro. Richarlison's just got to come in and side head it in, and he just gets his full forehead on it and it goes wide. And yeah, listen, I can see in the comments a lot of people who didn't want Ange out are feeling pretty smug with themselves now. I don't think it's quite as simple as that, but it's a big wake-up call for Thomas Frank. And I will say this. If Tottenham get off to a bad start, I said to a friend of mine recently, Thomas Frank will either last 6 games or 5 years. That is my opinion. But if he has a similar start to Nuno Espirito Santo, who, don't forget, actually, he won his first 3 games, but after that, we didn't have a shot on target for about the next 6 games. There will be people ready to jump on Thomas Frank, and he needs to get to grips with things quickly. And look, we won't be playing Bayern Munich every week, but we have got Paris Saint-Germain next week, then Burnley, only 3 days later. And they'll play a deep block against us, and they have a great defensive record from last season in the Championship, so that won't be easy to break down. We lost against worse teams than Burnley at home last season, don't forget that. And then we have Man City away. So we have to be patient with Thomas Frank, but also this is not Brentford or Bromby, where he's managed before and where he had very slow starts and they were patient with him. This is Tottenham, a team who came 17th last season, and if we have a bad start again, we will get absolutely, like the fan base will absolutely destroy Daniel Levy. And we know what happens when Daniel Levy gets destroyed. He sacks the manager. So not good at all from Tottenham Hotspur today. No redeeming features to that game whatsoever. An absolute pounding by Bayern Munich. And I said it during the watch-along. I'll say it again now. I've been giving Arsenal fans some serious stick over their preseason losses. And I deserve it myself today. If you give it, you've got to be able to take it as well. And Tottenham got absolutely battered today. That is the end of my post-match review of the Bayern Munich 4, Tottenham Hotspur 0 game. Please do give the video a like. Please do press subscribe if you're not already a subscriber for daily Tottenham Hotspur transfer news. We can only hope that Tottenham do look to make some transfers. The only one I've heard that we're now linked with during this game is that we're interested in Nicholas Jackson if Richarlison leaves this summer. My God. All right, guys, find a way to enjoy your Thursday evenings. Come on, you Spurs.